Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Friday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're glad you're along for the ride. Got a little late start today, but here we are. We'll be joined second part of today's show by Zach Abolverdi of On3 Sports. He'll give us a recap of Gator scrimmage yesterday, news and notes. I'm sure many people saw the comments. A lot of injuries, a lot of attrition to the football team. We will be very active in the portal once spring practice is over, adding players, and I'm sure subtracting players as well. You missed it last night. Gators lose in the ninth inning to the Georgia Bulldogs in baseball. Softball travels for a weekend series against the Auburn Tigers. I believe they're ranked around 17th in America. And congrats to the gymnastics team. They advanced to the regional finals and in their quest for another national championship. Also, if you missed it, the University of Florida, their 2022 Athletic Hall of Fame class. Football is Jeff Demps. Well, he goes in as football and track. Jeff Demps and cornerback Joe Hayden. Basketball, Chandler Parsons. Jeremy Foley is going in as an honorary letter winner. And then in other sports, in men's swimming, Connor Dwyer, Michelle Moultrie in softball, Christian Taylor, men's track and field, Mike Zanino of baseball, Steve Beelan as a distinguished letter winner. So that's your 2022 Hall of Fame class at the University of Florida. Also, don't forget tomorrow, Final Four. Who are your picks to win? I will tell you my Peachland Dentistry weekend picks here momentarily. And don't forget, we're going to really get some good information from Zach Abolverdi around 8:30ish or so. What is that? Okay. We got a couple of texts on the Titan MR text line. We appreciate y'all texting there. This comes from an anonymous texter. He says he has great concern for Gator baseball, just as Buddy Martin has felt. Poor pitching will sink the Gators this year. This year will be just like last year. The days of Brady Singer and others are gone. Other SEC teams have passed us by. Example, Tennessee being number one. Well, I mean, you can't argue Tennessee's done a tremendous job. They had a great run last year. They go to number one Ole Miss last weekend, sweep them, and now they sit as the number one team in America. And they have that one dude who throws 104. I think he was clocked at last week. So, yeah, I mean, it was a tough way to lose last night, and we'll see if they can bounce back for the next two games, try to win the series up in Athens. Get your thoughts on the baseball team and go from there. Let's see what else is happening in the world of sports. Before I get to that, I need to read this because if you've got joint pain in your knee, shoulder, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Give them a call, folks, if you're hurting. I've been hurting lately. I don't know why that is, but I need to go see those folks. Andy asked, regarding the Tampa Bay Bucks, did Tom Brady have something to do with Arians retiring? Did he tell the Bucks either him or me? You know, I don't know. I don't think so, because there was talk after the Bucks won the Super Bowl that Arians was going to step down that year because he's had some health issues. He's coached a long time, and I think he just wanted to get that Super Bowl title, but he decided to stick it out last year. I personally don't have any information on that. I've not heard any reports. I mean, well, people have reported it, but I don't think so. What was interesting, you know, there's been a long time talk about Ty Bowles taking over when he decided to hang it up, but it was interesting that they even consider Byron Leftwich for that job. So I don't know, but you know, the Bucks will be the Bucks. I think they have a good chance to win the the NFC, but I don't see anybody right now on paper in the NFC being able to beat, well, besides the Rams, I guess. The Rams are a solid team, but the AFC is so strong this year, so we'll see. Lucas says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melton Law, I trust Sully, we will be fine. Does everyone feel that way? I agree with you. I think we'll be okay. The SEC is just so difficult. It's gotten so much better over the last 3 or 4 years in baseball. Obviously, the same as in softball. The days of just running through the league are over, I believe. I could be wrong. There could be that one team. I mean, you think about Mississippi State, they're your defending national champs. I don't have their record in front of me, but they have struggled this year. At one time, they were number one, and I saw the other night they were playing. They weren't even ranked. So it comes and goes. Don't forget, we'll have Zach Abolverdi join us here momentarily on the Titan MR hotline, get his thoughts on yesterday's Gator football scrimmage. A lot of injuries. If you missed Coach Napier's press conference, he announced that they will be doing a lot of business, is the way he quoted it, in the transfer portal, which I know a lot of fans don't like it, but if you're a Gator fan, you're going to love it because we need players, and he will tell you that as well. Ruzoga State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. They offer auto, home, life, and health insurance. Check them out and visit ogreinsurance.com or give them a call at 352-240-1779. Also, if you, as I said last night, Texas A&M blows a big lead, loses the NIT to Xavier. I didn't get to see any of that. I just saw that they were up big at one point, and next thing I know, they lose the basketball game. So it was a good year for the Aggies. I don't know how many players they lose, but Buzz Williams has done a good job over there, and they'll be a team. They still, in my opinion, they should have been in the NCAA tournament. I have no idea. Still don't know that. Doesn't make sense to me. Our Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go visit Peachland Dentistry anytime. And we don't have JC today. I can't remember who his picks were for this, but I'm going to tell you my picks for the Final Four. As much as I love Villanova and Jay Wright, I just think with their 6-man rotation, losing Justin Moore, I don't know how they can compete with the Kansas Jayhawks. Now, they will fight and claw. But I think Kansas will come out of that. And I think North Carolina beats Duke. And I think Kansas is going to beat North Carolina for the national title. That's just my thoughts. So we shall see. John says, QB, other than the Bills, which team do you like coming out of the AFC? Oh, I hadn't given it much thought right now, John. I still like the Bills a lot. Obviously, you got to like what the Raiders have done. You got to like what the Broncos have done. The Chargers are an up-and-coming team. The Bengals, gosh, you can't overlook the Bengals. I know they're going to add some pieces during the draft that can help their ball club, but I'm still on the Buffalo Bills bandwagon. I don't know why, but I just think it's the best overall team out there. Andy says the Aggies won 27 games. That's a good year, and that's something you can build on in your program. I had somebody text me the other day, I can't remember who it was, saying the more that they hear and the more they read about Todd Golden, they absolutely love the hire. And I do as well. So I think Gator fans should be excited about their new coaches on campus in the 2 major sports. I think they're young, energetic, analytical. They're going to do things the right way. They will bring in really good players to the University of Florida. So hop on board while you can. Should be a good time. We got another text on the Titan MR text line before we get to Zach. This is from Andy of the other day that I missed it. He was hoping that Trent could get some other athletes on his show, like Bobby Fink and guys or girls from other sports. I think he's going to do that. I think Trent does a good job. Hope y'all enjoy his segment. This is part of his internship or his major. I think he's done a really good job. Evan McPherson was good to listen to yesterday. And if you didn't hear it, you can always go back and replay it on all the different platforms that Pot Up with Matthews in the morning is on. Let's see. So as I said, gymnastics moves on, which is good. The Pepsi Florida Relays was postponed due to weather, obviously. And if you miss it again, Coach Walton was selected as an assistant coach for the USA softball team at the 2022 World Games. So congrats to Coach Walton. And still tough to swallow losing the way we lost to the Georgia Bulldogs last night. But that's baseball, people. You got to bounce back and get ready. 13 days until the orange and blue game. I know I'm excited for it. I think you're going to, I don't know what you're going to take out of it. I don't know if they're having enough bodies to even have an orange and a blue team, quite honestly. But again, congrats to gymnastics. They defeated Denver, Ohio State, and Iowa State, and they move on to the second round. And, man, looks like a national championship team to me. So we shall see. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Zach Abolverdi. If you have any questions or comments for Zach, I don't know if he covered Coach's press conference yesterday. I'm not sure if the media was allowed to watch the scrimmage. Probably not, but we'll talk to him. And also, I guess the biggest issue right now for the Florida football team is the tight end position. Tons of injuries there. One was a career-ending injury, and we'll talk to Zach about that after the break. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okito America, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi, Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Point's where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Dave & Buster's, Bass Pro Shops, Hotel Indigo, Medici's, Escapology, Hillwin's, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where you can get 50% off a bottle of wine every Wednesday. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. Speaking of Coach Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, this weekend, they're having a big fundraiser golf tournament at the University Golf Course there for the Leonard George and Willie Jackson Foundation Endowment. And tons of Gators will be there. Doug Dickey, Carlos Alvarez, Wes Chandler, Ernie Dubose, etc. And so they will be at Spurrier's tonight, I believe, for a big party, social pairings party or what have you. And then they'll be at the UF Golf Course tomorrow. So make sure you make your way out there if you want to get some pictures, some autographs. Tons of Gator greats will be there. And then I'm pretty sure the golf tournament is full, but you can always talk to someone there if you want to make a donation to that endowment, which is a phenomenal cause, as we all know. So again, that's tonight. All the Gator greats will be at Spurrier's, and I would assume they would be upstairs advisors, but just show up there, ask the folks. You'll probably recognize a bunch of big dudes walking around, and go get your picture taken with them and all that good stuff. So as we wait on Zach to join the program, we got a text on the Titan Mart text line from Jimmy. Jimmy says, QB, do you see any of our quarterbacks going into the transfer portal and bringing in other quarterbacks? Well, Jimmy, appreciate the text. I know most people, that's all they care about is the quarterback position. I think it's a two-man race right now. Anthony Richardson is your starter. Jack Miller's coming on strong. I don't know how either one performed in the scrimmage yesterday, but as I said before, Jack is a really, really polished passer of the football. I could see possibly Del Rio or Kitna going into the transfer portal. Time will tell. I don't know if we'll bring any quarterbacks in. I don't know who really is out there. JT Daniels, I said this yesterday, or I meant to say on the show with Brent, I don't think JT Daniels is going to be a starter for any college next year. If that was the case, he would have already signed with the team. So this love for JT Daniels all these years is coming to an end, in my opinion. So let's see. Do we have Zach on yet, Evan? Okay. Well, we're going to go to the Titan MR hotline now, and we're joined by Zach Abolverdi. He's now with On3 Sports. We'll let you tell. He can tell us all about that. Zach, let everybody know, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners probably think you're still working for the Gainesville Sun, but let them know what you're doing now, my man.
Yeah, Shane, appreciate you having me on. And yeah, I'm at a new site now. Was at the Gainesville Sun, and obviously when I was fortunate enough to land there, I thought that would be a place I'd be for a while. And you don't ever make plans because things come up. And I was fortunate to have this new venture by Shannon Terry. And folks who don't know who that is, this is the guy that founded Rivals in 247. So all the recruiting coverage that you've read and all the rankings that you've looked at over these years, every time signing day comes around, this is the guy that created all that. He sold his previous two companies to Yahoo Sports and CBS respectively. And this is now his third venture, On3 Sports. And it's, very similar to some of the other sites that he created and recruiting services that he created. The only difference is that now it's just better technology. There's way more that goes into some of these rankings because now you have the transfer portal. They've created NIL and basically found a way to track that and how that factors in. So it's a really cool database that they've created. I'm on the team side with Nick Del Torre. We strictly just cover, Florida teams, football, basketball, baseball, but the recruiting aspect, as you know, Shane, is really important. And it's been great. Obviously we started a new podcast recently, and covering spring football right now is a fun time.
What does On3 actually stand for? Do you have any idea?
So On3 is kind of what you think. Snap count? It absolutely. When you break the huddle, or when you kind of put your hands in there and On3, that's kind of that was the basis of it. Now it's also stylized as the word one when you look at it, and the thought process behind that is kind of to have one database that kind of not only tracks athletes but tracks coaches, tracks schools, how they recruit, how their players get drafted, where some of their best players come from in the state, in the country. We have like a database that's mapping all this stuff out. So it's really cool. And then for Florida fans that want to be part of Gators Online, which is our site, we're 4 deep, and we have a 5th writer that's going to join us in June, who is a veteran recruiting reporter. But right now we got a spring ball special. You can get 4 months of premium access for just $10. So it's a really good deal. And if folks, want to get some intel and scoop from scrimmages and obviously some stuff from recruiting, Corey Bender's on top of all that.
Well, speaking of scrimmages, I'm not sure. I don't think the media was allowed to watch yesterday, but, I know a lot of our listeners listen to Coach Napier's presser. Obviously, we got a lot of injury issues, Zach, especially at the tight end position. So, I know we want people to go to your site, which I'm sure a lot of people will, but what can you tell us what went on yesterday in the scrimmage?
Yeah, for sure. I'll save some of it for the intel report to encourage you guys to go read it. But I will say that it was a physical scrimmage. I had one source tell me that it was the most physical spring practice for a scrimmage that he'd seen in years. Obviously, in spring, you usually don't go as hard as you do in fall camp. And sometimes, there's a lot of thudding and things of that nature. Not the case yesterday. These guys got after it. The players were ready and looking forward to hitting. And fortunately with that too, they came out of it relatively healthy. Didn't have any guys get banged up. So that was a positive sign. And I think anybody that's watched this team the past 2 years knows that they need to work on tackling. So the fact that that's an emphasis right now, I think that was encouraging. But, there were some plays made on offense. I think that, the defense, given the injuries that the Gators are dealing with, probably had the advantage. I know that one play in the goal line, probably the play of the day, was made by Derek Wingo, who absolutely just leveled a guy to make a stop at the goal line. But I honestly think the theme coming out of the scrimmage was not necessarily the scrimmage, but what Billy Napier had to say. I mean, he basically just said, we're going to be open for business in the transfer portal after spring camp ends, because he just feels like they have so many depth issues and roster attrition that's coming. And he's fortunate that he's going to be able to have that option to go address some of those roster needs with the portal. Otherwise, he, in years past, he kind of would have just been stuck with what he has. So I thought he kind of looked to send a message afterward to let people know, not only are we having depth issues, but, kind of sending a message to everyone out there in college football, athletes that may be looking to hit the portal, coaches and parents that are trying to find a new home for their kids. Florida is looking for a spot if you're capable of playing at this school.
Zach, let me ask you this. Speaking of the portal, okay, how many scholarships do we have that we can offer to kids that are in the portal? And then I don't know all the dang rules. I probably should, and I'm embarrassed to say it. But if we sign a kid who's in the portal, he will be eligible to play this fall, correct?
If he enters the portal before May 2nd, and that is very, very key that you mentioned that, Shane, because if a player from another conference or any conference for that matter wants to be able to enter the portal, go somewhere else and still play this fall, they have to put their name in the portal by May 2nd. So after May 2nd, if you do it, you're going to have to sit out this fall. So, like I said, once spring ball ends, it is going to just be a mad rush. I mean, it is going to be as hectic and as busy and as much recruiting going on, if not more, than when National Signing Day rolls around. I mean, it is just going to be a whole nother window for these coaches. And then in terms of the scholarship count, they're over the scholarship limit. I think that they're like, I want to say they're in the 90-ish range, but Billy Napier said yesterday that they are approaching double digits in terms of attrition that's about to happen from injuries, guys like Gage Wilcox that have suffered a career-ending injury and they're going to have a medical hardship, to guys that are just going to transfer afterwards and look for another school. He's anticipating double-digit transfers. So if they're in the 90 range, that's going to put them under the 85 limit. But I mean, Billy said yesterday that he's expecting or anticipating awarding several scholarships to walk-on players. So if that's the case, if he feels like that's where they're at, I don't think that they're going to have an issue where they're going to be filling up on the 85 limit. I think that after spring and all the attrition that happens, they're going to be trying to get to it.
Yeah, it sounds like they're basically, when spring's over, there's going to be some exit meetings where, you may need to go play somewhere else. I mean, that's kind of how it sounds to me.
It is. And I mean, there's some guys that just, Napier's not going to kick anybody off the team, but is going to be very honest about the fact that some guys just don't fit into their plans, or just are not ready to provide, contributions, and just letting them know, hey, if you stay, you're not going to see the field. And some guys aren't going to want to stay here for that. They're going to go look for opportunities elsewhere. And now they have that option.
Yeah. Zach, we got a quick text here on the Titan More text line from Larry. Larry wants to know, Zach, did Coach Napier mention anything about how the quarterbacks looked yesterday? That's what everybody wants to know, right?
Yeah, of course. He did. He actually gave a pretty revealing comment that I don't know if people caught, and it's not a surprise, I guess, but it just, he did acknowledge it. He said that they could have done some situational things better, but for the most part, they did a good job. Anthony Richardson and Jack Miller did not have any turnovers. He said there was one turnover, but it was by a younger quarterback. And he basically said that the revealing comment that I'm alluding to is he basically said that he has confidence in his top quarterbacks and that they have some guys that can play winning football at the quarterback position. And then at the end of that comment, he said the top half of that group is really good. And then to suggest that the bottom half needs to develop depth. And we've reported at Gators Online, people have seen it that have come out to practice. Jack Miller and Anthony Richardson have clearly separated themselves from the other two quarterbacks, Del Rio Wilson and Kitna. And I think just to kind of hear him say that, acknowledge that, kind of shows where they're at. And I think that some of the attrition that's going to happen after the spring is going to take place at that position as well.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. Andy asked on Facebook Live, Zach, who do you think will lead the Gators in rushing this upcoming year? Hopefully not AR-15.
No. Man, I mean, based on the scrimmage yesterday, you might have to say Lorenzo Lingard. He's kind of been, the guy that's been getting the majority of the first team reps, and he's done a good job with those opportunities. He's clearly the most, despite not having a lot of game experience, he's still the most experienced running back in terms of the amount of time that he's been in college, and he's been at UF as well. So I think that Montrell Johnson is another guy. Heard some things about him playing well in the scrimmage yesterday. All three of those backs, it is going to be a three-man rotation. All three of those backs are going to play. You got Naquan Wright as well, who isn't even taking the practice field right now because of his ankle injury. He's obviously going to be a factor in the fall. Man, that's tough. I would go probably Lingard right now. I think that Bowman potentially could maybe end up not getting the most carries, but having the most yards because he's that type of back. But I think that there's going to be a good dose of each guy. I don't think that there's going to be one feature back, though.
Yeah, I think they're all going to get carries. I've only seen two practices, and obviously it wasn't a scrimmage or any of that, but I love the kid from Louisiana. I think he's very smooth. I think he's got tremendous route running ability, catches the ball, because they split him out wide a lot when I was there, and I really liked him. Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, y'all need to quit worrying about the QB. We got way bigger issues to fix than the QB. Amen to that, Joseph. I agree with that. But the QB is the main focus of most fans wanting to know about their ball club. All right, so you said Wingo had a big hit. Anybody else stand out that you heard of on the defensive side of the ball?
Not on the defensive side. I know Dexter had a good practice, which is to be expected. he's kind of the guy now that's anchoring and honestly the leader of that defensive line after being a young guy for the past couple of years. He played well. I know that in the secondary, they're still not where they want to be in terms of depth. I think that their starters, they feel really good about the starters. Jason Marshall's been kind of, I would say, if you had to ask the coaches who is some of the players that have impressed you the most this spring, I think the coaches, most all of them would have Jason Marshall in their top three. He's been that good in practice. And I think that Jaden Hill coming back from injury has been good to see. I would imagine that coming into camp, they probably looked at Kimber as the guy that was going to be the starter. But I think Hill's kind of come back and really shown that he can lock down that spot as well. So safety is still a bit of a concern, though. I mean, they've got their starters basically settled in Trey Dean and Rashad Torrance, but behind them, there is no proven players and no guys that have solidified themselves in that rotation. So that's something that's still a work in progress.
Speaking of the transfer portal, I was thinking to Zach, obviously we have some holes to fill. I mean, the tight end position, I think our only scholarship kid at the tight end position now is Zipperer, if I'm not mistaken. But we know they're going to look at the tight end position in the portal. But is it one of these deals where it's almost like how the NFL draft, we have needs. We're going to go after those needs. But if there's the best player, whether he's a wide receiver, heck, if he's a quarterback that we think maybe down the road we could use him, best possible player, regardless of the position, you think they'll go after them in the portal?
I think they have to, and I think that's a great point that you make, Shane, because depending on the number of walk-ons that they award scholarships to, and then depending on the number of transfers that they have after spring, they may only be able to give out 5 scholarships. They may only be able to give out 7. How do you hand those out? Is it needs-based? Do you hand them out based on whoever's the best available, regardless of position? That's going to be interesting to see how they manage that. I would imagine that they're probably going to do a little bit of both. They might take some players at positions that aren't necessarily a need, but a guy gets in the portal that they just cannot pass up. And if the kid's interested and wants to come, they might add him just kind of for the future and just to even strengthen a position that's already looking good. So, but I think obviously tight end, obviously wide receiver, safety, those are 3 positions as, I think inside linebacker as well, that I expect them to kind of really go after and attack. Wouldn't be surprised to see another offensive lineman added as well. And who knows? I mean, if they lose both of their young quarterbacks, they could look to potentially add another signal caller just so that they can have 4 for the fall. But I think a lot of that's going to be determined based on how everything looks once all the dust settles.
Hey, Chris Doring Mortgage. They do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. A few more minutes here with Zach Abolverdi on the Titan MR Hotline. Got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Meldon Law. And Andy asked, what do you think of Dejon Reynolds at wide receiver? I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week on my program, he's caught my eye. I didn't know who he was, but I love his shiftiness. I thought he ran good routes. He caught the football. I don't know if he caught a ball yesterday in the scrimmage or not, but have you heard the coaches say anything about Dejon Reynolds?
I haven't heard them say anything yet, but I've seen them clearly like what he's doing. He's been getting second-team reps in practice and has been very involved in the receiver rotation. And he's looked good. Smooth route runner. They're looking for guys, I think, that can just bring some different skill sets to the position. They got so many, bigger body receivers. They don't have a lot of speed. And I think that he's a guy that kind of brings something new to that spot. I mean, he was not necessarily a big-time recruit, but Rivals had him as a top 100 kid coming out of high school. He just committed kind of early and didn't really have a lot of hoopla with his recruitment. But man, they need guys to step up at receiver, and he's kind of one that's kind of emerged this spring for sure.
Last question for you here, Zach, brought to you by Meldon Law. Rick asks, how much NIL money do you think the Gator fans will have ready to help get players from the portal?
I can tell you that Florida wants over $10 million. So, whether they can get to that and whether they can raise that, that's the goal that the Gators have as a football program, to have that much money available for NIL deals for their athletes. If you think that seems like a lot, go talk to some of those Texas schools. They got a lot more in their war chest. I think Florida can get there. Just, it takes the effort and the initiatives I think that Billy Napier is putting forth. And obviously, if they can have success on the field, that's going to help even generate more of that. But that's their goal, and it's a lofty one. And they are, for better or for worse, right or wrong, I'm sure that there's some coaches on the staff that hate NIL. I know that Mike Peterson said this week that he's kind of 50-50 on it, doesn't really like how it's impacted the game. Nonetheless, it is part of the game now, and these guys are playing it, and they're playing to win.
Yeah, it's a dicey situation, no question about it. Well, Zach, we appreciate you taking the time to join our program. We're excited for you for your new endeavors. One more time before we let you go, let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter and follow all your work.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Zach Abolverdi, Abolverdi. Go to GatorsOnline.com to read my work. Nick Del Torre, Corey Bender, and all of our writers there. And again, we got a spring ball special. You get 4 months of premium access for $10. So take advantage of that while it's going. And definitely looking forward to seeing how things shake out the rest of the spring. And appreciate you having me on, Shane.
Absolutely, Zach. Have a good weekend, buddy, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. Take care, guys.
That's Zach Abolverdi. Join us on the Tight Number Hotline. I'll take a final timeout, come back, wrap up this Friday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios at South State Bank. We understand that small businesses need a community business partner they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, thank you for, member FDIC. To stay in sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. They're hiring people, $1,000 signing bonus for qualified positions. Give them a call, 352-376-2366. In 1985, the Villanova Wildcats beat the Georgetown Hoyas 84-75. The Wildcats were the lowest seeded team to win the tournament. I think that was Raleigh Massimino, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see if Villanova can get to the championship game. I'm not sure they can with the big injury, but we shall see. Hope you enjoyed the Final Four. We'll recap it over the week on Monday, and then we'll talk national championship and everything else Gator sports related. Hope you enjoyed the program. Make sure you tell everybody to follow our program. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.